Now at 6, the fallout of student visa terminations continue, and the reasons the Trump administration says they were necessary.
Examining the potential damages from displacing Anchorage teachers, which programs will be affected and impacts that will be left behind.
Plus, improving road and public safety in Alaska. The new budget proposal headed to the state packed with almost $3 million.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Good evening. Their visas were revoked. Tonight, an Anchorage immigration attorney is responding to a University of Alaska message over a Trump administration policy University President Pat Pitney's confirmed has now come to the Anchorage campus.
And tonight we're going to play out the Trump administration's defense of that policy as our investigative reporter Johnson Kuhn tells us the future of one current and 3 recent UAA students remains uncertain. Johnson.
An Anchorage immigration attorney maintains the lack of due process, in her view, means the 4 former UAA visa holders have a case to sue, as the Trump administration continues to say they have the power to revoke student visas without notice, which University of Alaska President Pat Pitney's letter says happened.
We gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio doubling down on campus activism being the cause of students having their visas revoked. But Pitney's letter does not say what the allegations against the 4 people are. Anchorage immigration attorney Margaret Stock tells me in many cases it's not activism, but comes down to things like minor traffic infractions, such as speeding tickets. And Stock thinks it's only a matter of time until the same thing happens at the Fairbanks and Southeast campuses.
I would expect any foreign student who's currently studying in Alaska to be targeted if they've had any interaction with the police of any kind, even if their charges were dismissed, no charges were brought. If anything shows up in the computer system that a police officer stopped them for something, they should expect to see their status terminated.
For their part, the Trump administration, for now, keeps saying this is about cracking down on social activism. The lawyer we talked to says this is affecting students all over the country. An Associated Press review says at least 790 students at more than 120 colleges and universities have had their visas revoked or their legal status terminated in recent weeks. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
In a transcript released by the State Department, Rubio says many of the revoked visas are related to pro-Palestinian protests.
It's part of what the Trump administration calls their executive order targeting anti-Semitism. Now, some of the terminations have been linked to prior criminal charges. At least 1 international student was detained in March for a drunk driving offense. Others include speeding tickets. Now, with all this going on, some teachers and rights advocates are concerned about students' abilities to share opinions without risking their visas being terminated.
Now, budget cuts are impacting more Anchorage teachers. More than 20 of them learned yesterday they'll be displaced. That comes on top of 185 people who got that same news last month. Displaced means they will keep their jobs, but likely have a different schedule in a different school. This time, the news went to specialists, people who teach art, music, PE, and health. The head of the Anchorage Teachers Union says the uncertainty is causing all kinds of issues and may be adding to the more than 300 Anchorage teachers who have resigned so far this year.
I anticipate many more will come in April due to all of these displacements and unknown situations occurring on a daily basis. It's just a very unsettling time frame to be an educator in Anchorage.
Corey Ace says it's a matter of timing as much as funding. He says if districts knew how much money they'd receive from the legislature before they have to legally turn in their budgets, most of the displacements would be unnecessary.
The deadline to take your studded tires off your car was yesterday if you live south of Ninilchik, and it's quickly approaching for the rest of the state. And for those living north of 60 degrees latitude or north of Ninilchik, the deadline to remove your studs is May 1st. That includes Anchorage. Taking them off protects your tires and the road.
You're wearing them down, driving them on the pavement like this, and also damage to the roads. And like I said, if not before May 1st, and you get caught, you could pay a fine.
Driving on studded tires after the deadline can result in penalties, and Anchorage police can fine drivers up to $50 per tire. High winds, heavy snow, and rain. It's all coming to southwest and south central.
And Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry joins us now with the latest warnings that we need to know about. Melissa?
Yeah, John and Rebecca, we are definitely seeing those impacts already in the southwest corner of the state with wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, heavy snow and rain pushing through the area. But for Anchorage, it's tomorrow that you need to be prepared for those extreme winds. High wind warning kicks off 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, continuing through 1 a.m. Thursday. Now is the time to secure any loose outdoor objects. If you haven't done so already, be prepared for downed trees and power outages possible with those wind gusts to 90 miles per hour. Again, this is for the higher elevations of the South Anchorage hillside. Even in town, though, we're going to see strong winds. It's been breezy in and out here today. We're still seeing dry conditions and warm temperatures, but you can see those wind gusts already up to 31 miles per hour. The area of low pressure itself centered right near Unalaska, where we've seen, again, those high winds today. Still seeing a winter storm warning in effect there as well for that combination of heavy snow and high winds through the Aleutians, and then also seeing winter weather advisories in effect as you head up through the Kuskokwim Delta. The snow is falling. It's going to continue to be heavy snow along with those strong winds overnight tonight. We're also preparing for high winds through the Alaska Range and blizzard conditions later in the week for the slope. But again, right now, seeing this current storm bringing those winds between 50 and nearly 70 miles per hour, and that's all going to push to the east overnight tonight. Also for the coastal areas of South Central, really from Kodiak all the way into Homer, Seward, Whittier, and across Prince William Sound, you need to be prepared for very heavy rain with this storm. That's going to continue all day Wednesday into Thursday, and we'll see chances for those showers in Anchorage and the Valley as well. We'll see much calmer conditions once we get into Thursday. But bottom line, be prepared for those high winds on the Anchorage hillside tomorrow. And all more details on the rest of this storm and the rest of the week here in a few minutes.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Well, billions could be headed to Alaska infrastructure if the House signs off on the $2.9 billion capital budget senators unanimously voted for this morning. Senate Bill 57 includes $36 million in deferred maintenance, such as for K-12 schools, University of Alaska facilities, and Sitka's Mount Edgecombe High School. About $68 million in unused federal money also was reappropriated for other projects. During an afternoon news conference, some Senate majority members called the budget lean and strategic, emphasizing the money's going toward some of the most pressing infrastructure needs.
We all have heartfelt projects. I mean, I have Homer that's about to lose, has lost access to the spit. They could lose that road very easily, an issue that in a normal year we'd be talking about, but we can't even talk about it now because there's simply no money there.
As we look at how to pay for the operating budget with the price of oil continuing to slide, I think it really points to the need for the state to do some additional steps to address revenues, unless the desire is just to take it all out of PFDs. I don't think Alaskans as a whole like that option.
Now, Senate budget leaders adding that pretty much everything is in play. The bill, now up for consideration by House lawmakers, Monday will mark the 90th day of the legislative session.
House lawmakers are advancing a bill that would rename a park in honor of the late Vic Fisher, who was a signer for the Alaska Constitution. Fisher was a politician for decades and served in the state legislature, even sponsoring a bill that created Alaska's first 13 state marine parks. And now, after a 37-3 vote in the Alaska House, Shoup Bay State Marine Park could soon be named in his honor. It's about 5 miles from Valdez, and if House Bill 79 passes and it is allowed to become law, the park would become Vic Fisher Shoup Bay State Marine Park.
Vic Fisher's family connections to Valdez run deep. He helped replan that community after the earthquake. This legislation is supported, as you can see in your documentation, by the mayor and city council of Valdez. Vic Fisher's family spent a lot of time in the water, like a lot of us do, including at state marine parks.
The Department of Natural Resources, by the way, has said the name change could be done at almost no cost. The bill now goes to the Senate for consideration. And still ahead, a popular art gallery at UAA prepares to close, while some people say the location is more than just art, as they lose a piece of their community.
And finalists from Fairbanks, how 3 students plan to make their STEM project one of the best in the country at a big competition in the lower 48.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
A University of Alaska Anchorage student art gallery will be closing next month.
UAA confirmed today that the Hugh McPeak Gallery is closed because of a lack of funding. The university said it saw a drop in its funds generated from its student activity fees, which funded the gallery. Now, according to UAA, it has 2 additional galleries on campus where students will be able to show their work, and this gallery's closing will not result in the students losing their accreditation.
Our commitment as an institution is, even though if we collapse down to 2 art galleries, to find paths over the next several years of growing into other ways we can display student and faculty art in particular on this campus, whether that is a 3rd gallery in the future or other ways throughout the campus that we can display art in a meaningful way.
Now, at the same time, the petition is circulating online urging the university to restore the money. Artists like Deborah Hansen tell us that she is worried what this will mean for the arts for students. She says art galleries are spaces for students to show and build their resumes.
You learn a lot by that. That's how students learn. I mean, artists, that's a lab for artists, just like biology students have biology labs. We have galleries.
And there is no decision on how the gallery space will be used after May, but an option on the table, the university said, is a merchandise store.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.